So yeah, that would be my recommendation. But there are other specific things that could be done that experts have been talking about as well.
One of the things that religious do is they recognize vulnerable populations or vulnerable people or find people when they're at a vulnerable time. There are a lot of people who've had an illness or an injury or something like that, and when they come through that, they have this narrative that God wanted me to learn something from this. It's great for you to talk about having a discussion in a pub, and I was actually a little annoyed that we talked about having a discussion in a pub. I heard Randy say that people might commit suicide if they didn't have their religion, and I think that's because we're not offering them a good alternative. I'm a surgeon who does lots of cancer surgeries, and frequently I have to tell people, you have cancer, we can't cure it, you're going to die. And there are standing by at our hospital lots of religious people, religious pamphlets, giving people a way to deal with that message falsely. And I challenge, what?
Yeah.
I challenge you guys to come up with, give us some help.
Yeah. No,
give us some
I
help
agree.
when I have to talk to a family and say, this person's, you're going to go through some bad times. How can I help them through that? Give us some help.
This is a good example, and I'm going to answer this question because I know what you mean. And this is for you and for anyone out there who is interested in pursuing this or has faced the same problem, who works in the medical industry, for example. This is exactly the kind of thing that people should be writing to Tom Flynn of the Council for Secular Humanism and other leaders of major national organizations that have the resources and the networks around the country to implement something like a pamphleting or like a set of pamphlets that could be made available, or actual people who are atheistic counselors who could make themselves available as volunteers as counselors.
There are tons of pastoral care people hired by the hospitals.
Yeah.
And it's a tough fight.
Yeah, it's a tough fight, but you could do something. And in fact, once you start doing something, you might start generating enough revenue from donations and so forth to accumulate over time.
I suggest it be a topic for the next Skepticon.
That could be, yeah. But one thing that's relevant to that is I totally agree that they need a worldview to replace, because basically they're clinging to a rock in a crazy sea, and you have the option of tell them to let go of the rock and just float freely, or you can point out that there's another rock that they can quickly jump to. And a lot of times people do that on their own. They jump from one religion to another or one sect to another. But we can do that as well. And that's my book, Sense and Goodness Without God, is designed to do that. It's like, this is another rock you can jump to. This is another complete worldview. It answers questions about the meaning of life, about how to face death, and all these other things. And it gives advice for further literature to read on these topics as well. So it talks about morality and all the things that concern people. So that's why I wrote the book. So that's one use for it. And so you can point that out. And hopefully other genius philosophers will grow up among you.